Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you have myself, Captain Coop, and we have our wonderful back in his chair, finally after time,
I'm back.
Major McFarland.
One of my favorite movies, Independence Day. What's his name?
Oh, the crazy guy?
Oh yeah, he's like, I'm back.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a good movie.
It's a
Second
great
one
movie.
Sucked.
Yeah.
Who smokes? A lot of people in here.
Everybody
We're
likes
from
this.
Romania.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you. Glad to see you.
Believe that. Recognize that name. Soren, did you apply to work here? Question mark.
From Romania.
Maybe.
They're in Romania. So today,
I think they're willing to move. Maybe. I don't know. The name's
we're always hiring.
Saw an application.
So today we're going to talk a little bit, like the title says, gear. So there's tons of gear out there. You're going to find gear for everybody's, what they want. You're going to find when it comes to like belts, there's different kind of belts. There's different kind of inner belts, outer belts. There's cuff cases and everything and everything you could want. There's a holder for, you know what I mean? And so it's important to get gear that works with you, not against you, and it's important to get gear that you can get used to using.
Yeah, not everybody's going to be the same. I was never a big basket weave guy. Some people love it. And I think if you have a full kit of basket weave,
looks great.
It does. The one piece of advice I'll give you if you're wanting to outfit yourself with your own gear, that not use the stuff we provide. Obviously, you don't have to, but I think a good rule of thumb is to be consistent.
Yes.
So if you have a leather belt, you need to have leather mag pouches. You need to have leather handcuffs.
And some word on wise for that, because this is me. I have a leather belt. I love my leather belt. I also have a Safe Life Defense belt. Fantastic belt. Not sponsored. Really wish we could, because that would be amazing. But
yeah,
I have
expensive.
They are. I have a leather belt and the Safe Life. I prefer my leather over my Safe Life for my duty belt. But because I'm cheap, instead of buying leather gear, I bought pleather.
Yeah.
And Safariland has a fantastic pleather looking.
Yeah, they do.
And it looks amazing with the leather belt I have. So that's the way you're thinking about it. If you want to get a leather belt, lasts forever,
Happy Friday,
durable. It takes very little maintenance to keep it up in good condition.
Yep.
But you don't want to spend a ton of money on leather gear. A good way to do that is to do pleather, and that's, like I said, that's what I did, and it looks great.
Pleather.
It's like those old car seats they used to have. It was leather. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually learned about that. A fun fact: my family had a furniture business for a while, and a good way to tell if a couch is fake leather or not, if you look at the back panel, if it's all one big piece, at least the back is fake, because you can't get that big of a
Piece of leather
from a cow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
never
and
thought about
sometimes
that.
you'll see imperfections in real leather from when they bump up against fences and have just battle scars from living out
Knocking
on
into
the
each other
range.
and-
Yeah. So flashlights beyond illumination. I like that. It's a nice little segue.
And next, besides duty gear, there's, besides like belts and stuff, the other things you can take into consideration are flashlights. And we tell everybody this: flashlights are super important. I get this from the day shift officers back when I used to work day shift and out in the field, not stuck behind a desk every day.
Right.
I'm standing at a grocery store. I'm standing in this area. Why do I need a flashlight? Well, one, if the power goes out, you're in the back of the building and you can't see what you're doing.
Me too, Thompson. Me too.
It illuminates everything.
Save the elephants, man.
I prefer elephant lever.
Yeah.
So, a good flashlight's always good to have. Me personally, because I'm over-prepared, I guess you could say. I have two on me. I have one that goes on my belt, and then I have like a little pendant version that sits on my vest. Flashlights are super important for more than one reason. If you work overnights, they're extremely important because that's how you see where you're going. And there's a flashlight for every person, every style, price range. I mean, it really comes down to what you're looking for, what you can afford.
Yep.
I always tell everybody, if you're testing it, or just if you don't know if this is what you're going to do for a living, don't spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Don't get out over your skis.
Yeah.
I heard that phrase the other day. I've been wanting to use it.
Never heard that before.
Yeah. Get out over your skis.
Actually, that's a lot. I have.
But yeah, and so it's just like, we've probably said this before on the I know we have. When someone comes to you like, I want to wear an outer vest, and they just go buy one and don't see which ones are approved. And it's not because we want to be mean and say you can't wear it. It's because we have to have certain regulations met as far as size of Velcro and all that, so that you can wear it. Or if it's not approved, plates, because the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department for KCMO doesn't allow it. We're at the mercy of what their allowances are. So as far as that gear stuff, so it's not just because we want to be mean. You guys got to understand that we have rules to follow. So please reach out to someone in leadership here that can give you the options, advice, point you in the right direction. Like flashlights, back to flashlights. Surefire was a really big, popular late 90s or 2000s, and now I think it's what's that brand? Streamlight. You know, and so those things change. So ask somebody that's kind of in the know-how. It's never going to be me. Coop's pretty good with all the gadgets, so please reach out to him. Call him all the time. Blow his phone up. No, just shoot an email. If it's something like that's an email. Just, hey, I'm looking to get into upgrading my flashlight. I'm on a night shift, even day shift. I always tell people, like, well, it's day shift. I don't know. If you're at a facility, the power goes out, you're going to need a flashlight, and don't rely on your phone flashlight.
Yeah, those do not last.
So, yeah, there's a reason why we require the gear we require for every shift. But reach out to ask someone that's in the know-how, because, for one, they'll probably know a place where it's cheaper, especially some of that higher-end name brand stuff. We might be able to cut you a deal. We're a dealer for certain things, and we get kind of what's that?
Discount?
Yeah, but that's not what I was
wholesale.
Looking for, but yeah, wholesale. That's right. We have a little bit of wiggle room. So, but yeah, so flashlights. There's all kinds of brands. Reach out. Same with the handcuffs. All types of brands and styles. A lot of people like the hinge cuffs.
I was going to say, I prefer, personally, when it comes to handcuffs, I prefer the hinged, just because the chain's a little bit longer than my, so the way you control them and everything is, holding them like this.
Yep.
The chain's just a little bit too long for me, and so I lose control on that.
The chain is perfect because I got bigger hands,
yeah.
And so the chain's perfect for me, and I prefer to have a little bit more width because it's easier to get a broader shoulder guy like me.
And what's funny is that little bit of difference
makes a lot.
Those in the handcuffs from the chain from the hinge makes a huge difference with somebody with broad shoulders. I mean, and I mean it's.
Well, you just did handcuffing the other day.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to get me.
Yeah.
Me in hinged handcuffs.
Yep. So it's always, those are just little tricks of the trade. Love my O clip for my vest. I have 2 flashlights on the Yeah. I used to have a really cool little, it looked like a USB drive that would clip on my vest. Had Molly on the shoulder straps. So that was kind of a perk, and I would put it on there. So when I was taking down someone's ID or whatever at night when I was on patrol, I would just click that on.
Yep.
And it would stream it, so I didn't have to tuck my flashlight. It was just hands free, so I could, if I needed to have anything in my arm, whether that's like a wallet or something, and I'm looking at a license or an ID, or I'm writing something in on my notepad, that light was really cool, and it just happened to sit right, so it basically cascaded. It was like a reading light. Yeah.
See, the funny thing is my pen light that's on my vest, it sits right here in the center, and the way I have everything set up is when I turn it on, the light actually goes out.
Cascades out, yeah.
Because it bounces off.
Well, and some of them will have...
so I can actually write everything like this. And does the same thing, but it's not on my shoulder because I never bought one of those. Although that's actually a really cool light. I've seen those before.
Some of those will have... like that flashlight you gave me. Was it Nebo or something?
Yeah,
it was a nice one. I use it because when Sassy Pants was young, I had to make sure she wasn't getting through the fence. And so at night when I'd let them out, there's kind of...
Are you talking that big floodlight one?
No, not the massive. Yeah, I mean it was like.
Are you talking the?
You could pull it apart, and it would illuminate sideways. Yep. So if that's something like a pen light, sometimes you can pull it, or you can. There's a side light on the actual like flashlight shaft or whatever. So, but yeah, hinge cuffs versus chain cuffs, and it just depends. Like you said, sometimes it's hard to manipulate them. I like the longer ones because it's easier to get people into them. Handcuff keys, the ones that we give out at orientation, if you like, we'll give out for, they fill something out, and they get those. It's like a
pen key.
Yeah, it's a pen key. Those are really good to have. The ones that come in like the Smith & Wesson box, they're real small. I have one on my keychain for my car. I don't keep a lot of keys on there, just in case I'm ever like showing somebody, I'm like, oh shit, my gear's back at the office that has my actual long key, but it works pretty good, and it's got a good little protrusion at the top, to where you can actually double lock, and get it in there pretty easily. So again, if you guys want some more advice on those, just reach out. Then we'll move on to OC. which I have no idea. Oluricin capsaicin.
Yeah.
I just call it OC spray.
OC spray. So with OC, there's two different. There's a bunch of different versions out there. With it's got like CS gas and other stuff like that in it. Your basic OC spray works just fine. There's two different styles that I see most, and I recommend one more than the other. You have the aerosol version, and then you have a gel. For what we do, I recommend gel. Just because it keeps it condensed, it doesn't spray out as much, and it stays.
Not as much potential for overspray.
It also doesn't hang out in the air for as long. So
most of our medical facilities require it, so we've always done that.
But so OC, that's kind of how you go with that. Then you get into like, well, do I want the big can or the little can? Or personally, that's going to be more of a personal preference. For someone like me, again, I've got this smaller hands. I use the smaller version because it's easier to control. I don't use it that often, so I don't have to worry about changing it out. But that's what I have. I've met officers that prefer the larger cans,
right?
Because they've got bigger hands, or they more often run into scenarios where they're outnumbered in a situation, and they want the option to be able to, get more out of it.
Sure. Hey, Fabella, we actually did a podcast with MyVest and his and some others. If you look up, probably just type.
It's in there.
Outer Vest Titan Protection podcast, because there's a couple of those. There's also when we do the outer vest versus inner vest look. Me and Connor Rosas.
Was it Roses?
Yeah, did it together with Leon. It's like a 10 or 11 minute video.
Yeah,
so you can see mine on there. It's the Condor Defender 2, I think. I don't even think they make it anymore, but I love it, and it's for someone. It fits my features. Most people that are taller have longer legs. I actually have a longer abdomen, so it just fits better. It was like a nice glove. And do Titan have plates for the? We will sell you a bulletproof vest. Yes, it's level 3A, and so we don't sell plates. You have to get those somewhere else. Yeah. If you want to wear them, be my guest. They're a lot heavier, and they don't have near as much surface coverage.
Anything with when you get into like above level 3A, so you get level 4 or anything like that, you start going into steel and ceramic, and steel and ceramic is very heavy. Yeah. If you want to carry that around, fantastic, more to you.
Yeah, they're making lighter versions, but if you're engaged with somebody with a rifle, we're going to want to get.
Yeah, and you're going to want to walk back away from that situation very quickly.
Get out of that. So, but yeah, OC. There's lots of different kinds. Just check with us. Check with other. Online reviews are always really good, but a big part of your gear that people. It really frustrates me to see men and women in uniform that don't take care of it because you need it. And I just frustrate. It doesn't frustrate me. I feel for them because I'm like, hey, if you go to use that and you haven't tested it or oiled your cuffs or anything like that in a long time, that stuff can malfunction when you need it the most. And it makes me uneasy, I guess is the best way to put it. So maintenance and cleaning is. And it's extremely important.
It's funny when you think about that. You would think, you look at something like a handcuff holder, and you think that there's no maintenance to it. You don't have to do anything. It's just there. But there's maintenance to everything. Even if it's just cleaning it and making sure it's in good condition, there's maintenance to everything. And if you don't take care of those items, they'll wear out faster. They'll get destroyed, or you'll go to use it, and it will, like you said, it'll malfunction. There's not a whole lot you have to do with handcuffs, but oiling them once a month. Helps them perform, stay in good condition.
I wouldn't even say you do that much, just probably once or twice a year.
Really?
Especially around the colder months, yeah. Because you can over oil, but
that's true.
As long as you don't overdo it each month. Just a little bit dab here. Yeah. Mr. Rosas decided to put a pair of my handcuffs in a glass of water a couple weeks ago because he's a cat.
Are they
rusted?
He's
around water. No, I got him out right away, and we have one of those air things for like computer screens and stuff. Or keyboards. And so I sat there and blew all the water off of it, and then I hit it with just a little bit of WD and some of the hinge parts. And if you don't maintain that stuff, especially with the seasons, or if you've been outside, there was this one time this guy was breaking into vehicles, and we detained the individual, and this is me and an old corporal that's now, I think she's with Mission. Yeah. And so her and I had this guy detained at a dealership. We were waiting for PD to get there, and of course, the building had no overhang, and we had to babysit him.
Yep.
And so we don't put people in the back of our patrol cars. So we were standing there in the rain for about 2 hours while KCPD, we were busy, obviously, but it was about, the sun was starting to come up and we're waiting, and we just got soaked. And so I went home and I took all my gear apart, let everything dry on its own so it doesn't get moldy and then you smell bad.
Yep.
You know, those vests, everybody wants to have an outer vest. They are a lot of work. You got to wash them regularly. You got to take your gear apart regularly to
and
make
it's not
sure
just
that
you got to wash them. You got to wash them in a particular way.
Yeah. You can't just throw it in and hit spin cycle. There's certain ways you got to do it, and each vest. I'm not going to tell you specifically because each vest usually is different depending on what the material is. A lot of those vests don't like water. You know, fortunately, what I got was really good. It was built to where it could get wet. Your soft armor doesn't like getting wet, so you got to make sure you protect those. You clean those regularly. There's a lot of maintenance that goes to it. Even an inner vest. I mean, all your gear needs to be cleaned and maintained. Yep. And you know, this is stuff that you use to defend yourself and to help others. And you know, so it's imperative that you know those routines. And so don't ever hesitate to reach out and say, "Hey, I've got an Baton, you know, how often should I oil it? How often, or should I oil it? Or, you know," and so I don't even know the answer to that. So
I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah. I just know the handcuff one because we were talking with somebody about it once, and he went to like, we were just asked him, "Hey, how are your cuffs?" And we went to clasp the cuff over, and it was stuck. I was like, "Is that double locked?" He's like, "No." I was like,
"Oh, great."
I was like, "Great." I looked at it, and it had seized up because of rust. Because it had gotten wet and just never maintained. Yeah, I got caught on the cable there. So
you're wigging out a little bit.
Weighs about 40.
So
holy
I was
smokes!
going to say, I was going to touch on that, Beatty. You know, you get into guys who wear that hard armor, and you get your mags, your baton, your admin pouch, and everything on there. Which your admin pouch holds your phone, your notepad, your pen. You got a flashlight on there.
That's my desk drawer is what I call it when I was out in the field.
You've now gone from what would normally be a 15-pound carrier to 40 pounds because you've got all your stuff on there. And that's something to think about as well. Is the vest itself is to help pull some of the weight off your hips, because you don't want to weigh your shoulders down. You don't want to put 60 pounds of gear on your shoulders, because now when you get home,
you bring up a really good point. When
everything's going to hurt from your shoulders down.
When I would cover on sites as a lieutenant back in the day when we had to do that. Those of you that have the luxury of not having to do that now. When I had to cover an on-site, it was most often like a retail location.
Yeah.
And so I'd go from bouncing in and out of a patrol car, checking on people, doing my site hits, dispatch calls, whatever, and I'd go to a stagnant post with an outer vest for a long time of standing, because these are positions you stand at for 8 to 10 to 12 hours, depending on the shift. And I often contemplated going back to the inner vest, because standing for that long periods of time
with that much weight,
or just having a dual vest set up so I could flip one on or toss one on or take one off or whatever. Because about 4 or 5 hours into a standing position with the vest,
you start to feel it.
Yeah, you start to it'd peel you back or forward depending on kind of how you're standing, and the outer vest, really the perk of that is getting in and out of a vehicle. Being able to take it off when you go write reports at the office. So it's not, there's always a reason behind kind of the equipment. Someone's been doing it longer than me and is like smarter than me and is like, hey, there's a better way to do this. And so that's why they use those. So take that in consideration when you're getting your gear set up too. Maybe get into it for a while before you actually just go, oh, I want to do that. Get this gear, get this gear, get this gear. And then you find out that that's not really
the best way to go.
Yeah, the most applicable for what you're doing.
Ooh.
But Beatty makes a really good point. The two often most destroyed pieces of equipment are your holder or your baton holder and
your handcuff cases.
Your handcuff cases. The reason for that is usually when people are getting in and out of your vehicle, that stuff snags.
Snagging on stuff.
Yep. And so sometimes you have to change your placement up where, and I had to do that. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was, there was two things. One was my radio. Before we had in-cars, I had it kind of underneath my armpit and it's just out of the way, so I had more stuff for my gear. Well, when I was driving around, apparently it would block it from having signal, and so I had to move it kind of more towards the front so I could, use my head as an antenna. But that one, and then my baton was another one. That one was really painful to have when you got a gut like I do, and it's pressed underneath your vest, and then
I fought that too because I got a nice little beer belly myself, and the way I fought that is instead of having a holder that goes straight up and down, I have one of those ones that has rotation to it. Yep. And so now on my belt, my baton sits sideways. So if my belt's sitting here, it sits like that, and so it keeps it from rubbing on me and stuff like that. It keeps it from hurting me and doesn't wear out the baton holder or anything like that as fast. So that's things that you want to take into consideration is where you've got your gear. Is it the most easiest located for you? And is it the most useful location for you? Because you'll see a lot of people.
I still cover on sites. Well, I did it more. No, I don't know. Yeah, you guys still bust your chops out there. I know you do.
So it's also placement as well when you look at that stuff. So look at the placement. Is it the most useful place for you to have it? Is it the easiest to get to and things like that? I've seen people come up with the batons on their vest, and I asked them, I said, "How are you going to draw that out? Is it easy to do without hitting yourself in the face?"
Yeah.
Take those things into account. Don't be like, "Oh, I'm just going to take all this and I'm going to put it here." Take into consideration, what it is, where it is, how you use it, and things like that, because that's going to make a huge difference in placement and weight distribution and everything as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, Beatty, we miss you, buddy. I know you're out doing good things, but we're eager to have you back. The biggest thing, guys, is reach out to someone that's been doing it for advice. We've said it millions of times. People still don't listen, and they're like, "I want to do that because it's cool," and then you're like,
"I get that all the time.
It's uncomfortable. It doesn't work right," and so you guys really need to.
When I have somebody come in for a vest, sometimes when I'm looking at their vests and I'm looking at the gear they have on it, and I'll ask them, I say, "Why do you have that there?" "Oh, because it's cool." We're not here to be cool. Yeah. We're here for it to be functional. Yep. So if it's functional, I understand it. But if it's cool, what's the point? You want it to be functional, comfortable, and and things like that. I get it. Functional doesn't always look the best, but functional is what keeps you moving. It's what keeps you mobile. It makes life better.
Yep.
Functional is much better than comfortable.
Absolutely. Speaking of comfort, what's the weather going to be like?
So speaking on that, looking at our local weather today. We are looking at 75 degrees. It has been amazing today. And everybody here has been in such a good mood. I think that it's because it's so sunshiny. Just saying.
Now you ruined it. You jinxed it.
I'm okay with that because it was supposed to rain tonight anyway. So it was already there. Saturday, we're looking at 65 degrees with some thunderstorms in the morning. Sunday is 68, a little bit of cloud cover. 79 on Monday with clouds. 79 on Tuesday, sunny. Hopefully get a nice sunny day. Wednesday, we're at 76 with some clouds in the air. Thursday, 72, partly cloudy as well. Friday, it's 70, partly cloudy. Saturday, 72, and Sunday, 75. So we're looking at a moderately pretty good temperature week with that. Instead of being down in the glooms, we'll have some cloud coverage throughout the week.
Yeah, I'm going to the race on Saturday. Not the NASCAR race.
That's coming up though, isn't it?
It's this Sunday, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think trucks probably run tonight. Xfinity will run tomorrow.
Nice.
And then the big boys, Go Blaney, will be there Sunday. But I'm going to the dirt tracks on Saturday.
Very nice.
The guys I like to watch them, they come a couple times a year, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
You'll get to enjoy that. I'll make sure to call you 10 times while you're there.
I just won't answer. As long as I see it's you.
Other than that, we're going to let you guys get back to it. Thank you guys so much for everything you do out in the field. And when you guys interact with us, it allows us to continue to do stuff like this. So thank you so much. Remember, with the warmer weather coming, to stay hydrated. Hydration is key. Hydration is the day before, not the day of. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Enjoy your weekends, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Take care.
Stay safe.